Just so you know, I did not want to do this video. Hey, what's going on? And welcome to the Sea and Land Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Sahno. This podcast is brought to you by Sea and Land Fitness. Check on over there. Go on over there to www.sandlfit.com. Check us out. We've got a ton of merchandise, hats, clothes, all with the honeybadger logo. We're also a Garmin dealer, so you can check that out. This is the episode's basically going to be about that, but it's going to be about something else. So it's going to be about making a website, but it's also going to be about performance psychology, sports psychology. And as you noticed in the beginning of this episode, I did not want to make this episode. Now, let me be clear. It's not that I didn't want to make this episode because of the subject of the episode. I just didn't want to sit down and make the episode. I'm exhausted. I am so tired. Let me have a sip of coffee. Hold on one sec. Peter Madeira, that's for you. And that's something my coffee's changed a little bit, so that's something I'm going to need to talk about. I'll probably touch on it, and why don't I just talk about it right now? So I went from Truvia, which is like a stevia alternative, back to sugar. And my coffee is not as sweet as it used to be. But the whole reason I did it is because there's this theory, and I'm gonna play with it for a little while, that using non-sugary sweet substitutes may lead to insulin resistance, and basically the idea is that you're fooling your body into getting ready for a big, blood sugar. I'm not dumbing it down, but I'm simplifying it in terminology. Getting ready for a big blood sugar pump infusion, and with the taste, with the sensation, and that it winds up, your body gets let down when it doesn't receive the sugar that it's looking for. So that's just a little bit of change. And I'm actually, I have an appointment with a really great friend and mentor, Dr. Max Adolphs, on Tuesday, where I'm going to talk to him about that and find out if it's BS or not. But I figured if it wasn't BS, I'd try it out. It's not going to hurt anything. A couple of packs of sugar aren't going to kill you. I don't eat that much sugar in the form of cane sugar, so it's not that big a deal. But back to, you could tell I didn't want to make this episode because I'm meandering. So why didn't I want to make this episode? I didn't want to make this episode because I spent the entire week designing and rebuilding the website. The original website. So our original URL, our website address was seaandlandfitness.com. Fully spelled out. It was like 12 miles long. And I wanted to simplify it so that it was something quicker to type when I gave people my email. Hiccup, sorry. And I was like, I want it to be easier to use. I want it to be to more visually pop when you see it. So it looks like S and L fit. S, the word and, L, fit. And C and land fitness. It makes sense. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see it. It's up in the upper left corner. It pops. It's easy. So that led to a larger look at my digital presence on the internet, and I had to take a real concerted look at the website, and I wanted to have a website that would motivate people to, one, look at me and go, hey, this guy's got a professional website. He's got the credentials. This is the guy I want to use. So there was a big brand marketing thing, and there's a lot of fun stuff going on the website. There's a lot of interactivity. I basically had to learn how to use this program called Elementor, which, if you get the opportunity and you have any experience with like Adobe, I use Adobe Premiere for this, and I use Photoshop for, the thumbnails and stuff like that. So since Adobe, the suite, the group of programs that comprise the Adobe suite, it's pretty complicated. You have to have some tech nerd capability to be able to do it. And with that in mind, I said, I can learn this. So it's simply a drag and drop website creator, sort of like the one for the site as it sits now. And by the time you see this, the old site's probably still going to be up. It is going to be still up. You'll be able to go and see, and it looks like one of the one of those late 90s, early 2000s MySpace, block type of, not very creative. I mean, I tried to be creative within the boundaries of the program that I was using, but I was always unsatisfied, and it was always such, I didn't enjoy doing it because, that's interesting from a psychology perspective. I didn't enjoy making it because I didn't enjoy the results I was getting. What about that? That's pretty interesting. Another sip of coffee real quick. So think about that. If you don't enjoy the results you're getting, why would you go through the labor? Think about working out. Think about if you're overweight. Think about if you're trying to reach a fitness goal, a social goal, something. Wow, I can get pretty deep on this. Think about some of the alienated groups, like, that actually makes sense for, and I'm not trying to get conspiratorial, but for the group, for the incel groups, if you're not getting any results, why would you bother anymore? Therefore, these guys abstain from sex. So, just stepped on a landmine there, but I'm okay with it because we're talking about psychology. We're talking professionally. So I didn't like the results I was getting, so I hated making the website. And I didn't feel there was any tool that I could reasonably use with a level of expertise where I would have gotten a result that I wanted. Think about that in terms of sport and fitness. So you have individuals, they see Butler for the Heat. Go Heat. Think about just pick an amazing athlete, and if you don't think that you can get to that level, you're not going to try as hard. You know what I mean? You'll try as hard to maintain within the sphere that you operate in. So let's say you're in high school or in college, but you're never going to get to that point. But what's interesting is I just watched something with Abby Steiner, who used to run for Kentucky, who's been just killing records. I am a diehard fan of women's track. They're some of the hardest working athletes out there. if you have a chance, hit YouTube and go through and watch some of these performances, and they are absolutely amazing. But going back to Abby Steiner, so Abby Steiner, she had goals, but then she found a program. For me, it was software with the website, and for her, it was a group of coaches who saw her potential, saw what she was capable of doing, and said, hey, we can do that. We can take that up a notch. And I'm sure there was a discussion. You realize this is going to be a commitment like no commitment you've ever taken before. In much the same way, I looked at website design for my business and said, this is going to be, I'm going to have to dedicate a good 2 weeks to this. I have been working from 10 o'clock in the morning until 8, 9 o'clock at night, 5 days a week. Yesterday was supposed to be my day off, and I wound up, what did I wound up doing? I wound up like doing stuff in Shopify, which is the store platform. And then I was on the text interaction with this migration company to move my storefront from the old website to the new one. And I was up with them till like 3 o'clock in the morning. But I did it. I did it because I'm committed to bringing you guys the best thing. Is there a benefit to this? Yeah. You know what I mean? I get to, if you guys buy my programs, I get some money. You guys buy my hats and shirts, I get some money. Yeah, there's a benefit to it. But the most important part is that I bring you guys a quality product. And so what is that? That is my goal. Okay? So that's my goal. So let's look at this in terms of sports psychology. Of course, I was talking to my wife yesterday. We had to run up to the mall, and we were talking about something random, and I said, look how I can, transform this conversation into a conversation about sports psychology. And here I am doing it again for this episode. An episode I said I didn't want to make, but as soon as I started talking, what? So the goal was to create a product that would be so fantabulous that you guys would be like, oh, what? I need to have this stuff. This website's so cool. I need to keep coming to this website because it's got new information, which is another part of the website that I haven't designed yet, that I've got to figure out how to integrate it. We've got a newsletter that's going to be coming out. So you're going to get this subject of the podcast in a short article, and then I'll throw in a couple of other articles. And I want to bring you guys a big, rich, full experience. That's my goal. Now, I have pushed this off for a long time, doing the website. I told you. Why? Because it wasn't fun. Because I wasn't excited about the result that I got. And I knew that if I wanted to get a result that would mirror the result in my brain, it would take some follow through. And that is where my research comes in. So I'm going to have another sip because this is a rabbit hole here. So give me a second. So I am currently working on some research. It's private, personal. I'm not doing it through the University of Florida. So there aren't all of the research is sort of in the development stage. That's the best way to describe it. And it is on the, there's a couple of moving parts to it, but they're very simplified. not like some of the larger structures that we see in sports psychology now. A lot less switches to flip, and a lot more of an ability to target the base emotions and motivations for why we do some of the things that we do. Now, one of the key little fun parts of my overall directional motivation theory is this one part called the immediacy principle. And if I keep looking over to the side, if you're watching this on YouTube, I keep looking over to my right. And that's because I have this enormous 3x5 whiteboard, and it's got all of the particulars of it mapped out in this little chart. I should take a picture. No, I can't take a picture of it yet because it's going to be published in a book. So, but what I'm going to tell you is the immediacy principle states very clearly and explicitly that anything that can be done now should be done now. Of course, there's priorities and things like that. You have to prioritize your goals, of course. And up until last Monday, when I started this project, my priorities were finishing up school, my last semester, and also getting some certifications. And one of those certifications was my TTAC, which I just got. Pat myself on the back. Good job, kiddo. The other one is the CSCS, which I am studying for right now. And I've had to put that priorities on the back burner. Does that mean that I don't study throughout the week? No, absolutely. I do study throughout the week. But the amount of studying that I've done had to diminish or decrease so that I could pay more full attention to this website that I want to get out. And I also knew that I had to apply the immediacy principle to it. And crap balls, man. I have been working nonstop on this. I'm a little overboard with the immediacy principle right now. My wife works all day. She's an advertising executive. She runs operations at a major advertising agency. And she works like a dog. She works like nonstop. She is the epitome of the immediacy principle. She is the epitome of goal setting and goal attainment. She was coming to me and saying, Michael, you got to take your eyes off the screen. You got to relax. You got to rest. So if Conan, who is, you know what I mean, is telling me I got to calm down and relax, that's telling me I'm working pretty hard. But my whole point is without the immediacy principle, which is something that was instilled in me by the military, my parents growing up, my family, the type of environment that I was in, I would not have been able to, one, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Two, I wouldn't have been able to prioritize it the way I did. So I knew that it was a 2-week, approximately, block of project time. So I knew that if I set aside 2 weeks and I found a really nice place in the semester where there would be a gap between 2 assignments, that I would be able to knock this thing out real quick and then reprioritize the CSCS study back to the top. And I did it. I'm not totally done with the website, but I am done with the meat of the website. What's not done is the store needs to be migrated. Like I said that in the beginning. Let me take another sip of coffee. The store needs to be migrated. Certain links have to be put between the the website and the program, the first program that's come out. Oh, did I tell you? Tier 3 fitness program is out. I'm super psyched about that. I finished that. It's been reviewed by a couple of people who are really jazzed about it. Some really close people that I respect a lot are taking a look at it. And but I have it up. And if you want to get the first edition, it's out on the website right now. And that's for tier 3 is for individuals who want to go to boot camp. Okay, so tier 3 is for individuals who want to get themselves ready to go to boot camp, or for people who are in the military before, veterans who want to get back into shape, or individuals who are just they it's not that they don't want to serve, that's just not their thing, which is fine. But feel free, if you're a person who wants that type of fitness experience and that level of fitness, then go over there and check it out. And 2 and 3 are just harder, and I'll go into those later. I'm actually going to have an entire episode where I break down the first one, tier 3, as it comes. That's just come out. I should do an entire episode on that, but I think I'll do it after the website's out. But my point is, and the whole purpose of this episode was to let you guys know that you can do the things that you want to do. You just have to make a decision. Make that goal something that has to be done, not something that should be done, not something that could be done, but something that has to be done. It's a requirement. You know what I mean? I always mess with my wife because habitually I was a stay-at-home parent, and I raised, after I got out of the military, I got hurt and came home, and I was blessed with the opportunity to be a stay-at-home parent and support my wife as she worked in the city, and I raised my son for 10 years. I took that as the utmost responsibility, and things had to happen. I'm going to tell you a quick story about that. I was washing the dishes, and my son, he was tiny. He had to be like 2 or 3, maybe, really young. And he was grabbing the inside of my calf while I was standing there doing dishes. So he had one hand on the side of my calf, and he was just looking up at me, talking to me. Blah, blah, blah. And I was washing a steak knife, and I dropped it. And I remember I was barefoot at the time. And I moved my butt over, shifted my butt over to where he was, and kind of tossed him like a foot behind me, and stood there closing my eyes, waiting for that steak knife to drop and go right into my foot. It was instinct. Why? Because it's my son. I'll be damned if I'm going to let anything hurt my son. And I just looked down, and through the grace of God, as one would say, it fell right onto the floor. I picked it up and put it in, and then made sure he was okay after I launched him behind me. But my point is, and we went, and instead of the pointy knives, we went to Sam's and got those curved steak knives. So that wouldn't happen again. But my point is, that type of dedication is the type of dedication that you need for your goals. Okay. I needed to ensure my son's safety. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I needed to get my website up. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Is there priority between those two? Absolutely. My son is pick the largest unit of measure, and he's 1,000 million, 100 billion times more than getting my website up. But my point is, the dedication that you show to one thing, you should show to something else, all other things as well. And it's a dedication that I show to my wife to ensure that she takes rest time. It's a dedication I show towards making sure we have money in savings. It's a dedication that I show towards ensuring you guys get a new episode every week. And why do I do that? Because I said I was going to do it. Because I made a commitment to doing that. And a commitment is a huge part of directional motivation in the goal setting aspect of it. In the goal setting portion of that overall theory that I'm developing. And I know I talked about a website for the past 25 minutes, and I know I did not want to make this video. I wanted to hang out and watch cool videos on YouTube, but I knew that it was important, and because of that, I did it. I made this episode for you to tell you about the immediacy principle, and I hope it helped. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for sitting through that rambling, bumbling mess. I appreciate it so much, and I appreciate all of you so much. You guys are all my honey badgers, and I love every single one of you. Again, this podcast was brought to you by Sea and Land Fitness. Go over to the website, check this stuff out, and go and check out the old site so you could see how much I worked on the new site. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks a lot. Later.